All right, are we good? Can everyone see, hear? I'm assuming I'm gonna go ahead and assume yes. Yeah. All right, sweet. So yeah, so appreciate you guys coming through tonight. Got a good banger for you this evening, and all has to do with what is the best diet. So before I even, jump the gun on this, like I want to hear from you guys. Like, what do you think the best diet out there is? What is the best diet? Let's hear it.
Is it based off your body type or your blood type or what your body reacts the most to? Question mark.
Okay, so I like that. Customized to the body. All right, what else do we got? What's the best diet out there?
Whole
Sustainable.
30. Sorry.
I heard sustainable in there.
Yeah, it said whole 30.
Whole 30. Okay, we got whole 30. What else?
I would say
Protein.
balanced.
We got protein in there. I dig it.
Balanced.
Balanced. Okay. Let's hear like one or two more. What do you guys think the best diet out there is?
Heard good things about the Mediterranean.
Okay, Mediterranean, one of the most popular ones, one of the most well-researched ones actually too as well. So one thing I want you guys to pick up is that you all had a different answer. Every single one of you had a different answer. And I've been coaching for over a decade at this point, and I've been fortunate enough to run my own mentorship program for other aspiring coaches, and both client and coach always ask the same line of questioning. And it's this. It's, what's the best diet? What's going to work for me? Are you a paleo guy? Are you a like vegan guy? Like, are you carnivore? Like, what's the best diet out there? And I know they're usually expecting me to hit back with like a quick, definitive, it's X, it's this. This is the gold standard, you know? And but the honest to God truth is like there's no fucking best diet, right? There's no like it just doesn't exist. The best diet is the one that you can actually sustain. And I heard someone say balance in there, which is sort of along that same line of thinking. And by sustain, like, dude, I don't mean like you can only sustain it for a couple weeks while you're riding the wave of motivation and newness. I mean a way of eating that fits your actual realistic fucking life, your stress, your schedule, your culture, your cravings, your budget, your shitty energy on a Thursday night when you get home and you're fucking tired and you're running late and you're too tired to cook. If your diet only works when your life is perfect, you're fucked. You're going nowhere. You have set yourself up for failure. Because when in life does everything align perfectly? Most of life is lived in the middle. It's lived in the messy middle. It's the in between, right? And so many of us spend so much time trying to cram ourselves into these rigid, plans and diets and and different things, and that's backwards, right? Because the real key is to build a strategy around you, right? And it's something that you can do consistently, even when things aren't ideal, right? I've got a client who, I mean, I didn't even choose him as the client of the month. I could have, but I didn't even choose him as the client of the month. But my man Jamar, I don't even know if he's on here. He's usually working late, but what he said, one of the greatest things recently is like he doesn't even feel like he's on a program. He's going through easy fat loss. He's like, dude, I don't even feel like this isn't even a big deal. And that's the beauty of customizing the plan to you, right? Because the only best diet is the one that's for you, right? And this is honestly like the difference between having a coach and not having a coach. This is the body ops difference. You don't get a cookie cutter program. You get something that's built from the ground up, tailored to you, that adjusts to you on the fly. And that's what the real difference maker is. So how many of you have, even just like a show of hands, like how many of you have gone on a diet before joining Body Ops? Has anyone tried to diet before Body Ops? Tried to lose weight?
For sure.
Okay. For those of you who have, were you successful?
Not a chance.
For about a
Okay,
week.
when for about a week. Okay. What else?
Always seem to revert back to the weight once after a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad those of you that shared. One, thank you for sharing, and two, it's like, yes, that's exactly right, right? And a lot of you may be surprised to find out that we have lots of these are just 3 studies. You've got lots of literature and research now that actually indicate that dieting actually is a predictor of weight gain, and has little to do with productive weight loss. Because while you may lose weight initially, somebody said like, yeah, I lost, for the first 2 weeks, that was good. For the first month, that was good, but that's not good enough. What happens after 2 years, 3 years, a couple months, 5 years, 10 years? If you're only to gain all that weight back, like, that wasn't a successful fucking experience for you. Right? And like, if you think about the definition of a diet, it's something that you quote unquote have to go on. Everyone always says like, oh, I'm on a diet right now. I'm going on my diet. Well, when you attach that label to it and that definition to it, that means that eventually you have to get the fuck off. It's something that's done in the short term. By definition, a diet is a short-term thing because you go on it and then you jump off of it. And that's a red flag for a diet, right? And again, the diets are built around rigid, externally imposed random ass rules. Eat this, not that. Avoid this entirely. You're handed just a list of like do's and do nots, right? And you get zero context of why they work, or how they could be aligned, or why they are or not aligned to your life. And because most diets are built around this restriction, why do you only see short-term results? And why you don't actually learn anything? You don't learn the skills you actually need to navigate food long-term, which is why everyone gains weight on the back end of one of these quote-unquote diets, right? And that's the cookie cutter approach that has failed everyone who has tried to go on a diet before. You lose those first few pounds and you feel great, feel in control, but eventually there comes the problem of like, you didn't learn anything. And now on the back end of all that, you find yourself only to having regained that and then some, right? So see if I can get, oh. So what I've done here is I went ahead and I pulled the like the 6 or 7 most popular diet books out there, championed by all of the professionals and the doctors and nutritionists, who go on all the podcasts and this, that, and the other. And if you go ahead and read every single one of these books and listen to what every single and try to do what each of these books say, you'll find out that there's actually nothing left to eat but air. Right? The plant paradox. This says, lectins are public enemy number 1. And so that means like no tomatoes, beans, plants, whole grains, peppers. Basically, if it grew from dirt, it's off limits. The proteinaholic, that's the, you know, like meat is evil. We don't eat meat, right? Good calories, bad calories. That's all about, you know, the anti-carb movement. How not to die. This one is again vegan only. It's no meat, no dairy, no oil. Honestly, no happiness. And then we got a couple others in here. But again, if you take all of the information from all of this, there's absolutely nothing left to eat. Right. And again, this is the problem with restriction. And we got to flip that switch and we got to think about, okay, well, what can we actually add to improve our health? Not what we can take away, not what we can restrict, not what we have to say no to. Right? Success doesn't come from obsessing over all these things that we have to cut ourselves out of or cut things out of our life. Right? It's a bunch of simple shit that gets you from point A to point B. Don't eat like an asshole. Eat more fruits and veggies. Move a lot. Drink your water. Strength train. Get some sleep. Manage your stress. You do those like 6 or 7 things on a consistent basis, and you will not recognize the person that you are in 5 months. Right? And this sort of brings up the issue of like, well, who do I trust? Right? How do I know what to believe? How many of you guys have Instagram or Facebook or, you know, read magazines or newspapers? How many of you have seen even today, how many of you have seen some sort of dietary advice from someone from one of your social media outlets?
Usually every time I get on.
Exactly. Yeah. And the problem with that is like, you know, we have an endless amount of information coming our way or your way, right? And it's a lot of it is championed by folks who are making a lot of money off of selling you bullshit, right? And it creates a lot of confusion and distrust on your end of like, well, like, I don't know, it's all conflicting advice. I don't want to waste my energy, my money, my time, my effort on, you know, stuff that isn't going to get me from point A to point B. You know, like you like I said, you probably scrolled TikTok today and you saw like someone say you gotta cut carbs, and then the next post says like, no, you got to eat more carbs, right? And someone's yelling intermittent fasting is the way to go. Someone swears by eating 1 meal a day. Like, you know, you're constantly getting inundated with, you know, things that sort of prey on your emotions, your guilt, your fear, and your frustration, right? And this is where a coach can step in, right? Because we are all taught to read research and basically sift through all the bullshit for you. You know, our jobs are to take the overwhelming mess and turn it into clear, actionable advice and an actionable plan, right? We read the studies. We check what's real versus what's trending. We know how to separate the hype from and the bullshit from, you know, what's actually going to give you the things that you need to have clarity, actually see results, and not waste your time, right? This is evidence-based practice, right? And it allows it, and it makes it so you guys don't have to just spin your wheels, right? All you have to do is take consistent steps forward, guided by someone who actually knows what the fuck they're doing and who has your back. And that's the real power of coaching, is it saves you so much time, energy, stress, and confusion, because you can move forward with confidence, knowing that you're doing exactly what you need to do. So back to our, you know, diet conversation, right? So everyone champions a different diet. This is the way to go. This is the gold standard. You got to do it this way. And all of them work. Like, they've all had people lose weight at some point, right? So why does every diet have people losing weight? Well, when you take a step back and zoom out, there's a reason that every diet does work and does have you, or at least at first, has you losing weight. And it doesn't matter what that diet is. All diets operate off of a shared set of universal principles, and they just package them differently with each diet. That's all it is. They put a fancy ass bow around it, give it a cool name, and there you have the next new diet, right? So it's not magic. And there's basically 3 of these pillars that drive success, right? And so we're going to run through what those are. So here are the 3. Well, 1 through 30, because this is how important the first one is the law of thermodynamics, right? And this is just simply energy balance, right? And I'm going to go into each of these. The next 2 are going to be awareness and decision fatigue, and then you have an emphasis on food quality and satiety. And if you pick apart every single diet out there, they pull from each of these pillars, which is why you will initially lose weight on every single one of those diets, because they're pulling enough of one of these universal principles that drive weight loss. So we're going to dive into each of these really, really quick. So the first law of thermodynamics is, it's like I said, it's energy balance, right? And it's a simple, I think this visual is one of the best ways to kind of explain what's going on here, right? And it's if you are regularly consuming more energy than you can burn, you're in an energy surplus and you are going to gain weight, period. Right? There's just no irrefutable way around that. It's like it's a law of physics that our universe has to abide by, right? It's like saying, oh, like I don't think gravity exists. Well, it's like it does. It has to, right? And so I mean, and the other sort of way to think about this is like a bank account, right? And if you think about a bank account, calories in, the food that you take in, that's like your deposit. And the calories out, the energy that you expend, those are the withdrawals that you pull. So I don't think anyone needs to be a fancy accountant to understand, well, what happens when you deposit more than you spend? Can someone tell me?
You get a surplus.
You
Yeah,
grow.
you build up your savings. Or in nutrition language, you get fat. What happens when you spend more than you deposit in your bank account?
You overdraw.
Yeah, you go broke as shit. In the nutrition world, you lose fat. Right? So that's the law of thermodynamics that every human being on this earth has to sort of abide by. And again, if this box isn't checked, if you are not in a calorie deficit, you will not lose weight. It's as simple as that. Which is why it's also, it came in as number 1, right? Now the other 2 pillars are a little bit different. They're a little less sort of science, heavy on the science base, but awareness and decision fatigue are the next grouping that I grouped together. So we're going to kind of talk about awareness first. And honestly, I think these are 2 of the most underrated drivers of fat loss success, right? Because most people fall on their face when it comes to their fat loss journeys, because it's not like they don't know what to do. I'm sure all of you know going to McDonald's on a regular basis isn't a great thing. but it's because you aren't aware of the things that you're not supposed to do, right? And awareness is basically pulling back the curtains and revealing to you, okay, I had no idea that a tablespoon of olive oil has 150 calories to it. Who the fuck uses a tablespoon of olive oil? You just dump that thing in there, and before you know it, you've got 300, 400 calories of just pure oil right there. Right? And the mindless snacking that occurs. Again, the unaware snacking, just grabbing things here and there, all of these small little things that go unnoticed on a regular basis if you're not paying attention and if you're not aware, lead us to consistently take in more food on a regular basis, and we're just filling our bank account, right? And all these habits happen in the background, and so awareness is about bringing that to the forefront, shining a light on all of that. And once you start paying attention, logging meals, tracking your food, tracking your hunger, noticing your emotional triggers. Oh, I eat all my feelings. I eat when I'm tired. I eat when I'm sad. I eat when I'm happy. Like that alone is going to pivot you towards success, right? Awareness brings all of your choices into the spotlight, right? And then once you're aware, you can adjust and get back into control, right? And so the other piece of awareness is decision fatigue, right? And this is pretty simple. It's like, and we all know that willpower isn't infinite, you know, and it goes down as the day goes on. How many of you, you know, do a morning workout because you know by the end of the day, too many reasons not to do the workout are going to pile up? Anyone have that problem, or does anyone intentionally work out in the morning to get it out of the way?
No, I'm there.
I don't have that problem with the workout, but I do with the stretching.
Okay. Yeah, and honestly, it doesn't even have to just be related to working out. It's everything, right? Every choice that you make throughout the day drains your willpower. You know, it could be what to eat, whether to train or not, whether to say no to a craving. Every time that you have to do that and make that intentional decision drains just a little bit of your mental energy, right? And the more decisions you have to make, the harder and harder it makes to make the right one, because you're constantly just depleting that limited resource of willpower. And that's why successful weight loss, we don't rely on emotion, don't rely on willpower. We rely on systems, structures, and strategies. We pre-log our shit. We make to-do lists, checklists. Your My Coach task list. You have a to-do list. Talk about time blocking and scheduling. You've heard all of us till we're blue in the face talk about that. Talk about prioritizing the non-negotiables. You know, setting up your environment so it's so easy to do the right thing and hard to do the wrong thing. Pantry and fridge overhauls. Get the crappy food out of your house. If it's not there, you can't grab it. Make it inconvenient and make it hard to make a bad decision. I had one of my clients, I made him share with me his his DoorDash receipt at the end of the month. Because this dude was just ordering fucking candy bars to his house because it was easy. Right? Life is set up so easy for us to just grab whatever we want whenever we want. To make it hard to do that. Pre-planning when travel. I know Marianne just dropped in the group, you know, last week or something on, you know, planning for travel and travel snacks. Right? These are the tools that, you know, make your life easy, and they reduce the decision fatigue, and they free up all of your mental space for other shit, because no one wants to think about food and working out and nutrition all day. You're all adults with lives. Right? So if you're someone who like starts over every Monday or is stuck in like the all or nothing, chances are, like, it's not discipline that you're lacking, you just don't have fucking structure. And that starts with awareness and decision fatigue. Build systems. That's why we're here. We help you build those systems to support your goals so that you can always make progress, even when motivation isn't there. Right? And if you just stack up those good decisions over and over and over again, you'll win the game every time. It's impossible to not win the game. And then the final one has to do with, or the final pillar, final sort of piece of the puzzle is all about satiety and high quality foods, right? So this, it might be hard to see the this sort of graph here, but this is from, it's from a satiety study where they went ahead and they took a bunch of different foods and they were rated on how full these foods made you feel. Look, at potatoes is the king. Potatoes make you feel full as fuck. And if you notice, all the things that don't really make you full are going to be like the typical pastries, croissants, cake, donuts, chips, the things down here. And a lot of the whole foods, the proteins, they keep you full and they keep you satisfied, and they push back cravings and things like that. Right. So this is why food quality is such an important piece of the puzzle, right? And why we're always talking about, like, nutrient dense foods are going to help you along your journey more than, you know, the fast food and the processed stuff. And you can have some of that, just know that it comes at a cost, right? The example that I always give is, like, has anyone tried to eat a pound of watermelon? There's like 200 calories in a pound of watermelon. You're gonna stuff yourself stupid doing that. One Subway cookie has like 350 calories. I don't know about you, I can put down probably 15 cookies easily. That right there is the difference between a nutrient dense food and kind of a high processed food, and how the subtle little decisions that you can make with your food can either set you up to eat more or eat less. Right? And always think, like, balanced meals are going to keep you fuller for longer. And by balanced, I mean if at your meals you have a protein source, you have a carb source, and you have a fruit or a veggie and a little bit of fat, the combination of those things together gives you a balanced meal that allows you to stay fuller for longer. So you're less likely to snack in between meals. You're less likely to crave certain things in between meals. It's your natural appetite control. It's your natural Ozempic. That's all it is. All those drugs, one of the big things they do is they suppress your appetite. Eating in this manner is the natural way to do that, right? And it's at the end of the day, I think this last sort of I don't know if you guys can see my mouse on here, but this last sort of line here, like, honestly says it all, right? Like, I don't care how strong you think your willpower is. If you're hungry all the time, good fucking luck. Being hungry is miserable. It sucks. So set yourself up for success by eating in a way that keeps you absolutely stuffed on a day-to-day basis, even when you're eating in a calorie deficit. That's the trick to staying there for a long enough period of time to see all of the progress and the weight loss and the fat loss that you want. That's what easy fat loss is all about. So with that, I got my man Vincent. He's not here. He's on an oil rig. And honestly, that's part of the reason why he's the star of the month. Is he spent what, probably 15 or 6, no, he half of the program on an oil rig, which meant half of the program he couldn't make his own food. Half of the program he was at the mercy of 12, 15-hour days. And he lost 50 pounds. So for those of you who think that you're busy, oh, I'm too tired most nights, like I can't prep. Vincent couldn't prep. Vincent had every excuse in the world not to do what he needed to do. But we built out a plan, and he followed the plan. And he lost 50 pounds in 26 weeks. So wish
Bet
my
he
man
ain't
was
on this
here.
call to
So,
hear that.
huh?
Does he know he was client of the month? It's too bad he wasn't on here to hear that.
I know. Yeah, I had to let him know. I don't think he's even seen it yet. Because he doesn't get
Nice.
much service out there. But yeah, dude's an absolute savage. And we all can learn from Vincent. He's better than his excuses every single time. And I build out a game plan for him. What does he do? He just puts one foot in front of the other. That's it. On some trips on his oil rig, he can sprint, and he can, do all the things that we talk about on the plan. Other times, it's a crawl. But since day one, he's never stopped moving forward. And that's what consistency gets you. That's what structure gets you. That's what following the plan gets you. So this is the book of the month for those of you who are looking for a non-bullshit, just straight shooter, kind of cuts through all of the noise. This is a really, really, or one of the only ones that I would honestly recommend that does a pretty good job of sifting through all of the nonsense that is out there, circulating the internet, in terms of everything. For this covers everything from training to nutrition, to mindset and some psychological sort of habit building, changing your belief systems, things like that. But again, it's a trustworthy source that, like I said, cuts through all of the noise for you and gives you the real actionable things that are going to move the needle in the right direction consistently. So definitely recommend this one as a staple and a foundation for just doing the basic things over and over and over again. And yeah, with that was it.
Nice. Good job, Greg. You're going to share your screen.